The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. It is 9th of September and it's 10 o'clock exactly, and you're listening to what else? It's Inspire FM 105.1 FM. And it's the Urban Kube show with me, Shemiza, taking it all the way up to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock actually, all the way up to 11 o'clock on this wonderful morning. It is the start of the week, and I hope you've had a dry weekend, especially if you're listening in Luton and surrounding areas. It was quite wet and thundery across Sunday, which was rather interesting because I was working outdoors, which I'll tell you a little bit more about very shortly, and want to find out how our listeners were dealing with the weather maybe in Peterborough. To all our wonderful listeners, good morning to you in Peterborough who are listening to us on Salam Radio and Sheffield Link FM. I hope you are well, warm and dry wherever you're listening in from, be that on the way to work or at home or anywhere in the world via Facebook Live. We are Facebook Live, folks. You can catch the conversation via our Facebook page. Our guest is live in the studio, so you get to see who they are and also interact with us on the comment section as well. If you've got any questions regarding the show, please feel free to do so by leaving a question, and we'll be happy to read that out. Or alternatively, you can WhatsApp us on 077 7948 1822. It's an absolute pleasure, as always, being in your company on the Urban Kube show. For those of you who are not familiar with the Urban Kube show, this is a show that celebrates arts and lifestyle with trailblazing Muslims who are local, national and international. I have the pleasure of having their company in the studio all the way up to 11 o'clock, talking to me about their creative journeys and any projects that they are involved in, launching, that will be of interest to you guys, our listeners, to get you involved in. And today's show, we're joined by a wonderful guest who is normally behind the mic. She is a voice that you will be familiar with because she runs a show on Tuesdays. It's the book club show. Does that resonate with anybody? It's Imrana Mahmood, mashallah, is in the studio with me today. And the reason why Imrana is joining me today is because we're going to be talking about the importance of multilingual literacy in line with this year's theme for International Literacy Day. So it just makes sense to have Imrana in the studio because she runs not only the absolutely wonderful book club show, which is every Tuesday or fortnightly on Inspire FM, which we'll be finding out a little bit more about the context of that show with her, but also she's the founder of Dar Aminah Book Club, and they're celebrating their 10th anniversary. How absolutely awesome. And Imrana's joining me here today not only to talk about this wonderful journey that she's had with launching Dar Aminah Book Club, what it means for her readers that come along, and what it can and what the future holds for Dar Aminah Book Club. But also, we're giving away a prize. Yes, we are. I love this part of the show when we give away a prize. We're giving away a prize to one lucky listener listening into the Urban Kube show about Dar Aminah Book Club, because they're having their anniversary, they're marking their 10th anniversary, and they have a fabulous event happening with a panel discussion, I believe, with some absolutely wonderful authors that we need to be getting their books on our bookshelves, authors that you will be familiar with because you may have heard them on Inspire FM, and authors we need to know more about. So without further ado, I think it's time to invite or give a warm welcome to our fabulous guest, Imrana Mahmood. Assalamu alaikum, Imrana.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for such a lovely introduction and for, just kicking off my morning and my week in such a wonderful way, Shemiza. Thank you.
Always. It's an absolute pleasure to be in your company, and you've been a delightful source of inspiration for me and many of our listeners with your show, the Book Club show. But you've also been a friend to my show on many occasions by being a guest and sharing the amazing projects that you do as a creative producer. So, Imrana is also a notable creative producer whose work not just resonates locally but also nationally, and she's a writer too, a published writer. For many of you who don't know that, and I love her writing. What is there not to love about Imrana? It's so much. But Imrana, you've had a wonderful journey sharing your book, love for literacy, and you've really made that apparent. You've made it quite concrete, mashallah, in Luton, encouraging others, and in particular women, to kind of read and have that love for reading and sharing their love for books on your Dar Aminah Book Club. We will begin with asking you how that journey began.
Well, I mean, yeah, like you said, because with Dar Aminah Book Club specifically, we're celebrating 10 years, and we started really as a small group of mums around the Bury Park area. Majority of us were kind of new mums, and we were realising that we always loved reading and we just weren't finding the time anymore. And I think it was just a suggestion by somebody. So it actually started off, we were going to like a mums and tots group. And then slowly, I guess it started shifting to sometimes during the sessions while the children were playing with their toys, we might just pick a particular article to talk about that we might have read. And then that kind of, developed into, I read this book recently, or something, or I really want to read this book. And we made this decision. We said, why don't we actually pick one book to read? And, we don't have to finish it, because obviously we're not finding time because of all the other responsibilities. It started off like that, and then there was a suggestion of why don't we actually kind of formalise almost like an actual book club group. And it was fantastic, because I think what it meant was there suddenly became a space, a safe space, I guess, to start really sharing our love of books and our literature, fiction, non-fiction, a whole variety of books and literature. It's just amazing that we are now celebrating 10 years, but obviously since then it's evolved so much. We have an intergenerational group of women, different faiths, different backgrounds, coming together and just talking about all the things that we love about reading, or sometimes not love. So, it's all a bit of fun.
I like that it doesn't have to be about love. It could be any subject regarding the books, keeping it quite open. And it's fascinating that you say it's intergenerational and intercultural as well. And does that add a nice dynamic to the group? Does everybody bring a different viewpoint?
Absolutely. I mean, for sure, because I think just something as simple as even just being different ages. So we've got younger women who are kind of maybe like in their early to mid 20s, to women who are kind of retired, and I think those sessions where everyone's bringing their different lived experience in the space with them, and obviously while we're talking about different characters in the books, it's really beautiful. I think it's I have personally learned so much from the other women. And who are now basically my friends, and I think that's one of the most amazing parts, that no matter what happens and who joins book club, I would like to think anyway that people are forming friendships and long-lasting friendships as well, and just because sometimes we've done a couple of trips together, maybe to go to the theatre or go to the cinema.
I'm loving it.
It's been, and it's been great. And I think
how do I sign up?
Yeah, but that's the best thing. As long as you have a love of reading, you can just contact, get in touch, and just turn up. So
how fantastic Folks, it sounds so exciting. Dar Aminah Book Club, it's celebrating its 10th anniversary. It's been going on for a decade, and we have the founder of that book club, Imrana Mahmood, in the studio with us this morning. And what's making this show very special is we are celebrating with Imrana because we're going to be giving a ticket away, aren't we, to the actual anniversary. And there's a question that you guys have got to answer. And the question really is very, very straightforward if you are listening. Do you have a question, or shall I throw a question?
I think you should throw a question. I can't really think of one.
Okay, so Dar Aminah Book Club, how long has the book club been running for? Dar Aminah Book Club, how long has the book club been running for? And what year is it marking? It's celebrating its anniversary. There's going to be a lovely celebration happening at the Hat Factory, I believe. Imrana's going to be talking about what this anniversary is, because it is a ticketed event, I believe, which are available on the Cultural Trust website. But we are giving one lucky listener on Inspire FM this morning, the Urban Kube show, a ticket to attend this event. So the question to you guys is, what year or what year are the book club, the Dar Aminah Book Club, celebrating? So how many years has it been running for? In order to grab yourself a fantastic ticket for a lovely evening out in great company, you need to send us your answer on 07779 481 822 for a chance to win this exclusive giveaway, which has only been given away on my show, people, as always, because I have friends that do cool stuff and they're in the studio. Why am I giving this American accent, which doesn't even sound American? I so need a cup of coffee, which I have, because it's been brought to me in the studio. The perks of being on Inspire FM. Hey, back to the question, folks. 07779 481 822. Throw over your answer to us. We will be announcing it on the last 5 minutes at the end of the show, the winner. And if you would like to also add your name when you enter the competition, so we can correspond back to you, we'll take your details and then we'll forward them on to Imrana, because Imrana, you'll be putting them on the guest list, won't you?
Yeah,
that's how we'll do it. So, folks, 07779 481 822 to grab yourself this exclusive ticket to this absolutely wonderful event that is marking I can't give it away. Nearly did. Marking the anniversary of the Dar Aminah Book Club. Folks, come on, get yourself typing. Get texting. Let's get your answers in. Imrana, tell us where this event is going to be held, the anniversary, and what is expected on the lineup.
So it is at the Hat Factory on the 17th of September. So it's an evening event between 6:30 and 9:30. But the most obviously fantastic part are the guests that we're going to be hosting. And we have Dr. Sophia Rahman. So she is the author of A Treasury of Aisha bint Abu Bakr. So that is a book that has been published by Kube Publishing. It's a really beautiful, amazing book about Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha, but it's really looking quite in depth into her life, really, but not just as somebody who we know as the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, really somebody as her own entity, and also kind of looking a little bit at how over years, certain hadith have been reported by Sayyidina Aisha, but sometimes not so much from kind of a female insight, so to speak. So I think it really does. For me personally, reading that book, it was really refreshing. There were certain hadith that I didn't know the deeper context of, which really completely changed my I guess, understanding of certain, I think, parts of the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, and, you know, made me look at things in a new light. So I think it was really amazing to read a book like that. But Dr. Safiya Rahman also has contributed to a couple of other books. So one is Gathering Women of Colour on Nature. So that's published by 404 Inc. And she's written an essay in a chapter about... Well, yeah, literally about being a Muslim woman, a woman of colour, and her experience of and what nature means, I guess. But the book itself is, you know, it's got a collection of amazing writers. And again, as somebody like me and my family, we tend to go a lot, you know, on hikes, and we go, you know, we recently went to the Lake District in the summer. And I think, again, you know, those essays from different people, different perspectives, sharing their lived experience of being like women of colour and how they interact, I guess, and some of the experiences that they've had. So it'd be really interesting, you know, to be able to talk a little bit about that as part of the event. Another book that she's contributed to is Cut from the Same Cloth. So that's edited by Sabina Akhtar, if I'm correct. And again, that is looking more at Muslim women and their, I guess, experience of hijab, whether they wear it or not, and, you know, how that has maybe transpired in their lives, what their journeys have been like. So it'll be a real kind of spectrum, I think, of conversation, you know, having, you know, Dr. Safiya Rahman there. Our second guest is Tasneem Abdul Rashid. So completely kind of a little bit different. So she's the author of two fiction books. So one is Finding Mr. Perfectly Fine, and the second is the 3430 List. And there is so much. So both books are looking at the experience of a British Bengali girl. The first one's obviously about her experience of trying to have pressure of getting married and finding a partner, and, you know, Mr. Perfectly Fine, and what does that look like, and do they even exist? And, you know, so that was really fun. But her latest book, the 3430 List, I mean, our book club, Dar Aminah Book Club's obviously been reading it because we're obviously in the run-up to the event. And that is literally about a girl, I say girl, a young woman or a lady who's obviously not yet 30, who bumps into somebody on the tube, obviously a man, and he by accident leaves behind a notebook which basically has his own bucket list. And then it basically becomes about her and how does she, what does she do with this bucket list and how she makes it her own. And actually, even though there is a little bit about relationships, it's so in depth about faith, about family, about friendships, about, of course, you know, marriage or halal dating or whatever it is. So again, you know, really, really pleased to have Tasneem coming to Luton. And last but not least, the third person on the panel will be Samia Aziz. So she's the founder of the Diverse Bookshelf podcast. She's Luton based. It's amazing to have somebody who's kind of, you know, from the town, fantastic, you know, representing on the panel. And again, she has an amazing podcast. You know, she's interviewed a whole range of writers and authors. I think her most recent episode has featured Ilan Pape, who's obviously the Israeli writer, who's obviously pro-Palestinian, but she's also interviewed Tasneem. So I love, you know, there's kind of interconnectedness between everybody. And I do also have to mention, we have invited a British Palestinian spoken word artist, to Tasneem Ziada. And again, it was about really being mindful of everything that we've been seeing and hearing over the past, you know, 11 months in Palestine, to really give a voice to that, you know. So really pleased to have Tasneem, and we've got two Tasneems, but Tasneem Ziada being the spoken word artist, who will inshallah open the event with some poetry.
Sounds absolutely fantabulous. What an event, and what a lineup. It's so eclectic, so rich, but it's so inspiring to hear that these are all Muslim women making their mark in literacy.
Yeah.
And they're all coming to Luton, and they're all going to be together. It is a powerhouse of women, and it is going to be held on 17th of September at the Hat Factory. And that's the question I want to ask you. you're showcasing in a venue like the Hat Factory, which is kind of like a prominent space, an art centre in Luton, and your work has kind of been very grassroots, community-based, and now it's kind of like in a more of a crossover space, and you're marking your anniversary there. Why there, of all places?
It's a really good question. I think there was something about the fact that the 10 years of Dar Aminah Book Club has very much, like you said, been within the community. And, we can define that in so many different ways, but the majority of the time it has been in Bury Park. And I think it was always important to me, obviously at the end of the day, it's for the women who are joining us and, what is the best space to meet. And it had to be a space which is accessible, which feels welcoming, which is something we might go to on, a weekend with our family, but actually, I might now pop along on a Tuesday evening for book club. There was to avoid sometimes the barriers we feel to entering more formal institutions. So that, I think, was why it was important and always has been for book club itself. The event, though, I think there was something about, just a reminder, really, that these institutions and these kind of more formal places belong to us as much as anybody else. And actually, if we're going to celebrate and we want to show that it's our space, then, it rightly should be held in a more, I don't know, I don't want to call it traditional, I don't know really what to describe it as. But yeah, and I think because what sometimes happens is with our communities, faith communities, marginalised communities, sometimes, our stories maybe don't get platformed as much. And it is really important, I think, sometimes for institutions to also step up and kind of support those initiatives that are happening, at a grassroots level. So I think it was kind of a bit of both, really. Okay. It was about saying, actually, we usually meet in Bury Park, but actually this particular event, let's have a bigger space, let's invite more people, let's open it up. So usually where it's just book club, we're actually opening up to anybody, and it's not just, even though the book club itself is women only, this event is open to both men and women. Okay. So yeah, it was just, I guess, opening up a bit more. And
opening up people's eyes and ears and minds, I believe, because you have said something really quite significant here, is encouraging and taking up spaces where we think that we don't belong in. And this is something that you've been championing for as long as I have known you. And how has the journey been doing so?
So yeah, you mentioned, obviously I'm a creative producer, and I think it's been an amazing journey, really. On the whole, it's been extremely positive. Of course, there has been challenges, because I think for somebody who, as myself, I think, who followed a more traditional kind of academic route into, I was teaching initially. I did my degree in biology. I was always kind of very creative and interested in the creative arts. So then coming into this sector quite late in life, I guess, in some ways, and just understanding how marginalised communities actually do struggle to be noticed and represented. I think as a visible Muslim woman of colour within that sector, sometimes, we've discussed this on previous shows as well, about feeling a little bit sometimes tokenistic, or, things that are a bit tick boxy. So sometimes there's been that to grapple with. But I think on the whole, it's been, the most important thing to me is that if I'm able to enable certain spaces to platform voices that don't always get heard, I think is, the main aim, and it always will be,
Bismillah to that. And you're doing a fantastic job in doing so, Imrana. It is an absolute treat to have you here on the show. The time is 10:23, folks. You're listening to me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 11 o'clock on the Urban Kube with my fantastic guest. This morning is no other than Imrana Mahmood. She is a creative producer, runs the Dar Aminah Book Club, and also the radio show, the Book Club Show. Is it fortnightly Tuesdays?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And we're talking to her today about a fantastic event marking International Literacy Day, which was on the 8th of September, but we're rolling it over because it should be every single day. And on that note, I thought, who best to invite onto the show this morning? No other than the amazing Imrana, because a key element of the UNESCO International Day is about multilingual literacy. And what's amazing is about Imrana is she, on the book club that she runs, which is marking its 10th anniversary, it's so multi-diverse, with such an eclectic array of books and writers. And these writers that the books have been discussed about, so forth, will be at her event, which we'll be talking more so after the break. We are launching a competition on today's show, folks, and the competition is how long has the book club been running for, and how, what year are they marking as their anniversary? Contact us on 07779 481 in order to win this ticket to this exclusive event happening on the 17th of September in the evening at the very awesome Hat Factory. And we're going to be finding out what else to expect at this event, and also reading any questions that you might have to Imrana and around multilingual literacy. Join me straight after the break. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Atif Nawaz. Listen to Inspire FM shows in your time by heading over to inspirefm.org or listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning, and assalamu alaikum. It is 10:30. 9th of September, and you're listening to Shemiza taking you all the way up to 11 o'clock on the second part of the Urban Kube show. Absolute pleasure to be in your company this morning, wherever you're listening in from, be that Luton surrounding areas, Peterborough Salam Radio, or Sheffield's Link FM. Today we are marking the UNESCO International Literacy Day. And this is a day celebrating all things literature and encouraging young and old to take up reading and writing, so forth, be that academically or out of just a hobby or leisure. Now, what's quite significant is the spotlight has been shone on multilingual literacy. And that's what we're going to be exploring today on our show with my absolutely wonderful guest, who is no other than Imrana Mahmood, who is a creative producer, but also the founder of the Dar Aminah Book Club, which is a book club based in Luton. And it's been running for 10 years, believe it or not. And she is going to be marking the 10th anniversary of this fabulous book club at a wonderful event happening on the 17th of September at the Hat Factory in Luton, with a notable panel of writers, authors, podcasters, and also spoken word poets. It's a powerhouse of talent that we, and myself and yourself, can get to be part of. And how you can do that is we're launching a competition on today's show by giving away a ticket, an exclusive ticket to this event. And the question to win that ticket is, how many years has the book club been running for? And basically, what year are they marking? What year or what anniversary are they marking? And if you have the right answer, then why don't you message us on 07779 481822. Do leave your name, and we will contact you directly, and we will be adding your name on the guest list of the anniversary event that's happening. So get your fingers in get them moving, get them tapping, get those messages across, and we look forward to hearing your answers. for this exclusive competition that we're running on today's Urban Kube show. If you have any questions to Imrana regarding the authors, and it's a really amazing, it's a stellar lineup of authors. We've got a local podcaster that runs a diverse bookshelf. We have a Palestinian spoken word artist. We have a really rich writers who have got some amazing books that need to be on your bookshelf as well. And we also have Imrana. Imrana will be there too. And I think we better get Imrana telling us a little bit more. Imrana Mahmood, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining me on my show this morning.
Thank you for having me, Shemiza. It's always a pleasure.
Imrana, I've been talking quite exciting. It's quite exciting actually talking about what you have got in store for our listeners at this event. Tell us once again what to expect, just give us the name of the panelists and the time it starts, and if they're not able to win a ticket, how can they access a ticket?
Brilliant. We are celebrating obviously our anniversary. We've got 3 panelists, so there'll be a panel discussion with Dr. Safia Rahman, Tasneem Abdul Rashid and Samia Aziz, and the event will open, like you said, by British Palestinian spoken word artist Tasneem Ziada, but there'll be opportunity for guests and audience to actually have a Q&A with the panelists, so ask any questions. Ideally, if you've managed to get copies of your books beforehand, you can read a little bit, then you can if there's any questions that pop up, you can ask them directly. There'll also be an opportunity for some book signing as well. It'll be a really chilled evening. The light refreshments are going to be provided. In essence, it's really going to be a space for anybody who loves books, who loves literature, to come together, meet like-minded people, and just have a really enjoyable evening, inshallah.
Sounds like an evening not to be missed. It sounds super, super exciting. What time does it start and what time does it finish?
So it's on the 17th of September, so it's a Tuesday evening. Doors will open at 6:30, a prompt start for 7 o'clock, and we hope to finish by 9:30. And in terms of tickets, you can go on the Culture Trust website, just search for Dar Aminah and it will come up and you can just book them there. Advance tickets are basically £10, including the booking fee. Tickets should also be available at the door, but it will only cost another £1 extra, I think. So it'll be instead of 10, it'll be 11. But just to ensure that you have a guaranteed spot, though, I would suggest booking in advance,
because it's proving to be quite popular. You've got a stellar lineup of panelists and also a phenomenal spoken word artist. I really can sense it is going to be such a powerful energy in that room. It's definitely an event of the year not to be missed. It's an event that is actually marking its 10th anniversary, so it's definitely all celebrations for book readers, for just people who are interested in rich conversations. And what's amazing, it's celebrating Muslim women as well, because these are not just any ordinary Muslim women. These are women who are trailblazers in their own right in the world of literacy, podcasting and spoken word, who I think are going to make such a rich conversation that in a panel. And will you be leading the panel? Are you leading?
I will be, yes.
So I've
got I get the pleasure of hosting it and just facilitating, which I always love doing. Obviously I don't want to necessarily make it just about my questions that I'll have for the panel. That's why there will be an opportunity for Q&A, so you can bring questions along, and hopefully it'll be really open, it'll be pretty informal, really chilled out. Like I said, it is really about coming together and just celebrating books and literature together in a space. So really, really looking forward to facilitating and hosting that. And I think, in essence, I just really wanted that kind of celebration of maybe not just literature. I mean, the fact that we do have a spoken word artist, and I have such a strong affiliation with poetry, I think it's really nice that we're able to include that. Oh, and I did forget to mention one thing. So a calligrapher, Luton-based calligrapher, Abu Yahya, has been very kind to basically create a calligraphy artwork for us, and that we will be auctioning on the day, and inshallah the funds raised from that will go to charity, Children Not Numbers. So that'll be really exciting things to be able to do.
And interesting you mentioned that, because Abu Yahya is going to be joining me next Monday.
Oh, well, there you go. Awesome.
It's awesome. Okay. So that's so we can plug it again.
Yeah, thank you.
So he will be joining us, and we'll talk about that, because he is at Wardown Museum doing some interesting. He's an artist in residence there, but I will talk about that on Monday's show. So you know what, Luton is, and Muslim creativity in Luton seems to really be blossoming more. It's wonderful to observe, and which is great for me. Get more guests on the show, and it's always awesome to have Luton talent on the show as well. Now, folks, it is 10:39. You have around just less than, say, 10 minutes or so to enter this competition. And the competition will also roll over to next Monday as well. If you fancy a chance of grabbing a ticket to this absolutely fabulous event, which is the anniversary of the book club, the Dar Aminah Book Club, being held on the 17th of September at the Hat Factory, starting at 6:30 and finishing around 9ish, where you not only get to listen to a fantastic wealth of panellists, you also get to do a Q&A as well, and just like maybe get yourself a book copy to get signed too. Imrana, it's the UNESCO International Multilingual Literacy Day, which was on the 8th of September. When you hear a day like that, what does it mean to you?
I think it's really important to mark occasions, such as that. Anything that celebrates literacy, that has kind of a global community attached to it, I think is really important. Talking about, anything to do with multilingualism, I think especially for those of us who do speak more than one language, and, even, for example, in our book club, the fact that we have people from different, nationalities that are attending, who might share a book that they've read in a completely different language, and we talk so much about language and the richness that brings, and how we, interpret things as well. So I think it's always really important to mark that, and I think there needs to be such a big push and drive to make sure, especially young people, that they are getting into reading, but more importantly, reading for pleasure. It's such it brings a completely different dynamic, and I think if we can start that really young, and we can celebrate that and mark it in any way that is possible, I think is really important. And just recently I heard an interview by Michael Rosen, and he was just reflecting on the fact that so many libraries are obviously shutting down because of the lack of funding, and actually what impact does that have on young readers. Because, there's one thing about as adults reading for pleasure, but, it's so important for young minds to have the space to imagine and to empathise. I think it kind of makes me think about those things.
And thank you for sharing that. And I definitely resonate with everything you're saying. And it just makes me giggle just listening into you, because my daughters were complaining, "Mummy, you've got all these books down on the coffee table underneath it. Have you actually read any of them, or is this just decoration?" I'm one of these people that actually hoards books. I love collecting books, and it's like my weakness. Whenever there's a new book that people talk about, I'm like, I will read it, but it looks pretty on my shelf. It needs a home. So I'm really excited to kind of come and attend your event, because the authors that you speak of and the books that they've written sound absolutely amazing. And I love that there's a real array of fiction, fact as well. And book and faith too. So there's lots to pique everyone's interest. So, folks, this event, not to be missed, it's happening on the 17th of September at the Hat Factory. Go onto the Cultural Trust website to grab yourself a ticket. But we're giving a ticket away free on this show. If it's not collected today, if we don't get a winner today, we will roll this over to next Monday, where we'll also be joined by another fabulous guest. And what I want to ask you, Imrana, is what's the book that you guys are reading at the moment?
Oh, for book club.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, so for the summer, there's almost been a book list just to prepare for the event. So it is including the 30 Before 30 list by Tasneem Abdul Rashid. Like I mentioned, Gathering Women of Nature, Women of Colour in Nature. But before that, we've read some, really different ones. I now, my mind's gone completely blank because I've just got the most recent ones. But I think it's just really fantastic to be able to just read. And the way we choose is basically everyone puts a suggestion in. We then, it's very democratic. Like we go to a vote, and whichever book gets the most votes, that's the one, we read. But what's been so fantastic over the years and years of running book club, I think and this isn't just me, we so many of us say it, that we've ended up reading books that we wouldn't normally have read. And, and that in itself becomes really, kind of eye-opening. So, I think, one of the recent ones I know, and it was really hyped as well, was Yellowface by Rebecca F. Coang, I think is the way. Yeah, and that, brought really interesting discussion. It was really fantastic, but also we're not only just about the story itself, but actually what happens in terms of literacy when a book gets really hyped and the marketing behind it. So, it was really interesting to kind of talk about the bigger picture as well. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Imrana, I know you have to dash off. And on that note, I just want to say thank you so very much for joining us. Thank you for everything that you're doing. Book club is when? Your show?
So my book club shows on Tuesday mornings at 10. So that's every fortnight. And obviously, actually, Dar Aminah Book Club, when we do meet on a monthly basis, is on a Tuesday evening at a local cafe. We're still kind of finding a fixed place that we can meet. But, at the moment, it's cool. We kind of cafe surf, so we just meet wherever we can and have a bit of chai or whatever's available.
It's
so
a day out.
It's a really lovely evening. For women to come together and just chat.
Fantastic. It sounds like something that is very much needed. Thank you for making it happen. Thank you for making it happen for a decade. You have made that happen for many women across the town, and now you'll be celebrating the event at the Hat Factory. And I will continue. Yes, Imrana?
I was literally just going to say one thing, is the fact that obviously I do, I guess, hold it together in the sense of making sure the venue and all the logistics. But really, it's just a shout out to the women who actually attend book club, because they're the ones who make it what it is. They're the ones who put the effort in to read the books and then attend and bring all their beautiful contributions and bring them their whole selves. And, I have so much love for everybody. Like I said, so many of us are friends, and it was just to make that point that actually book club wouldn't be what it is without the women that come.
The sisterhood that comes together. And then we will get to see, if you win this ticket, or if you grab a ticket from the website, you will get to meet these absolutely wonderful women that have been part of that book club journey at the event. Now, we are rolling out a competition today, and the competition, which will not only just be for today, it'll also be for next Monday as well, is how long has the book club been running for, and what year are they actually marking? What year are they marking on for their anniversary? If you have the answer, feel free to throw it over to us on 07779 481 822. Now, if you are concentrating on the listening into the show, then you would have heard what that number is. Now, we are delighted to be launching this competition because Imrana has had such a beautiful beautiful connection with Inspire FM by doing the book club show, which she does every Tuesday. So it's actually fortnightly. She does that every fortnight on Inspire FM. Now, folks, we've got a couple of minutes left to the end of the show. What I'm going to do is we're still going to roll over the competition for you guys, and we will be announcing the winner either directly with you or on the following show, which we on Monday, and I will be joined by another brilliant creative who's local to us in Luton. They're local to us in Luton, and they'll be talking to us about their creativity and any projects that they're getting involved in and like you to get involved in. So one more time, going to launch the competition again. We're going to be playing some nasheed straight after, taking us to the end of the show, inshallah. And I hope you are going to have a wonderful week. And thank you so very much for allowing me to keep you company on today's Urban Kube show. The competition, once again, before we play the nasheed, is: how many years has the book club, Dar Aminah Book Club, been running for, and what anniversary are they marking? For your chance to win a wonderful ticket to this absolutely amazing event, which is happening on the 17th of September. So, from me, assalamu alaikum, and inshallah catch up with you next week, same time, same place, on another edition of the Urban Kube Show. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Why not tune in to our live stream at inspirefm.org and follow and subscribe to our social media platforms at Inspire FM Luton.